You are going to learn a simple and effective step-by-step method to overcome the obstacles in the way of enlightenment. The only aim of this video is to relieve you of all suffering. And at the end of this video, I'm going to reveal simple and practical exercises to help you do so. I am Shauna the Artist, and this channel is dedicated to breaking down large and complicated topics into short and easy to consume videos so that you can learn something new in a matter of minutes. Like this video now to show support, and subscribe for a brand new video every single week. There are different levels of consciousness. All life forms emit an emotional energy that can be calibrated in relation to its degree of truth. This means that each emotion has a different vibration that either brings us closer or further away from heaven or God, which is the ultimate truth. To learn about this in depth, I recommend the book Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins. Your life goal should be to move up the scale of consciousness, away from shame, grief, and fear, and into peace, joy, and enlightenment, where healing and abundance happens effortlessly. The scale of consciousness is used as a tool to achieve this. I'm sure you've seen this scale floating around in different videos, but I'm yet to see anybody explain how to actually use it. So, allow me to shed some light. The centerpiece of the map of consciousness consists of humans' core emotions, along with their corresponding numerical values, where 1 is bare existence and 1000 is the highest level of truth that occurs on this planet. It is very important to remember that the calibration figures are not consecutive, meaning that the level 200 is not twice the value of level 100. It is 200 to the 10th power, or whatever that number is. Therefore, an increase of even a few points up the scale represents a major upgrade in personal power. All levels below 200 come from that of force and are destructive of life, both for the individual and society at large. All levels above 200 are constructive, powerful expressions of life. The most common vibration on Earth is currently fear. Therefore, the greatest achievement any human can make in their lifetime is to jump out of fear and into courage. Each level of consciousness has its own reality and values that are acceptable within its own domain. For example, in the lower energy fields under 200, it makes sense to be hateful, cheat on others, or even unalive the opposition. Yet, in the energy fields over 200, such actions would not even occur. In the middle domains of reason, which is the 400s, God and other spiritual realities cannot be proven with logic. This is where atheistic beliefs and theories stem from. Yet, from a higher vibrational perspective, the 500s and above, God exists and is everywhere without a shadow of a doubt. Letting go creates a sudden end to inner pressure. It's like dropping a metaphorical weight. It is followed by a sudden feeling of relief and lightness, which increases happiness and freedom. It is a proven mechanism of the mind that you have already unconsciously experienced at some point. We carry around with us a large reservoir of accumulated negative attitudes, beliefs, and emotions. The accumulated pressure makes us miserable, and we subconsciously try to escape from it in many ways. Letting go means being aware of a feeling, letting it come up, staying with it and letting it run its course without wanting to make it different, without wanting to make it go away, without doing anything about it. It means to simply be with the emotion and to focus on letting out the energy behind it. Sounds easy enough, but why is it so difficult in the moment? How are we supposed to do this when we are feeling the grief and loss of a loved one? What if we are in the heat of the moment? How do we become aware of our feelings? Well, I'm glad you asked. The process is simple, but not easy. To feel better, you may need to change your thought patterns and behaviours. Let's talk about why we have emotions, and then we can learn what to do with them. We have all emotions for a reason. Negative emotions motivate us into action, keep us safe, and help us communicate with ourselves or to others if something is important to you or if something is missing. It is impossible to get rid of low vibrational, unpleasant emotions. That is not the goal. We need them, but only in very small doses. The goal is to make wise decisions. To help you wrap your head around this, I will explain the benefits and limitations of all of our emotions. Shame helps us to meet our own expectations and live up to our personal values. Feelings of shame tell us that we've disappointed reasonable expectations we hold for ourselves, or if we violated our own self-chosen values. Shame helps us to grow and to become better people. The level of shame is dangerously close to death, which may be chosen out of shame as conscious unaliving, or more subtly as failure to take steps to prolong life. Too much shame is destructive to our emotional and psychological health, and as a consequence, low self-esteem makes us prone to the development of physical illnesses. The shame-based personality is overly shy, withdrawn, and introverted. Shame is also used as a tool of cruelty, and its victims often become cruel to themselves and or cruel to others. Guilt helps us to apologize and make amends for what we have done wrong. It is an important social function that helps us to maintain relationships. Guilt is commonly used in our society to manipulate and punish. It manifests itself in a variety of expressions, such as remorse and having a victim mentality. Guilt domination results in an obsession with sin, which is an unforgiving emotional attitude that is frequently exploited by organized religion, who use it for coercion and control. Guilt can provoke rage and unaliving others frequently. An example of this is capital punishment, which reflects how unaliving others gratifies a guilt-ridden populace. Apathy is a normal way for humans to cope with stress. Being able to shrug off disappointments is considered as an important step in moving forward and trying other activities and achieving new goals. However, this level is characterized by poverty, despair, and hopelessness. The world and future looks bleak, and tragedy is the theme of life. Apathy is a state of helplessness. Its victims are needy in every way. They lack not only the resources, but also the energy to utilize what limited resources may be available. Unless external energy is supplied by caregivers, death through passive unaliving can result. Too often, society lacks sufficient motivation to be of any real help to the unfortunate masses. And, unfortunately, these people are just seen as a drain on resources. We can have positive experiences following grief and loss, such as a new sense of wisdom, maturity, and meaning in life. This is the level of chronic mourning, bereavement, and regret about the past. It is also the level of self-sabotagers who accept failure as a part of their lifestyle. It can often result in the loss of jobs, friends, family, partners, and opportunities, as well as money and health. In grief, you see sadness everywhere. This level colours your entire vision of existence. Part of the syndrome of grief is the false notion that you will never be able to replace what has been lost. Fear is an important signal. It tells us when we are in danger. These bodily reactions make us ready to escape, seek refuge, and react accordingly. There is a lot more life energy within this vibration. From the viewpoint of this level, the world looks hazardous and filled with traps and threats. Fear is the dominant vibration of Earth and is the favoured tool of control by oppressive totalitarian rulers. Fear limits growth of the personality and leads to excessive shyness. There is a lack of personal autonomy. It takes significant energy to rise above fear, and the oppressed are unable to reach a higher level unaided. Thus, the fearful seek strong leaders who have already conquered their fear to lead them out of their slavery. Proper desire cheers us on. Our desire gives us hope. Our desire gives us inspiration and energy to do better for ourselves. Desire is also the level of addiction, wherein desire becomes a craving more important than life itself. The victims of desire are usually unaware of the basis of their own motives. Advertisers play on our desire for sexual approval. This has produced entire cosmetic lines, fashion industries, and entertainment industries. Anger is the appropriate reaction to injustice and unfair treatment. Anger motivates us to do something about the situation. It is important because it signals a perceived injustice to the way you or others may have been treated. It spurs you on to defend. Anger expresses itself most often as resentment and revenge, and is, therefore, volatile and dangerous. Anger as a lifestyle is exemplified by irritable, explosive people and by people who are oversensitive and become injustice collectors. Anger stems from frustrated want. It is based on the energy field below it, desire. Frustration results from exaggerating the importance of our desires. The angry person may, like a frustrated child, go into a rage. This leads to hatred, which has an erosive effect on all areas of a person's life. Pride is the level aspired to by the majority of humanity today. People feel positive as they reach this level, in contrast to the lower energy fields. This rise in self-esteem is a band-aid to all of the pain experienced at the lower levels of consciousness. Pride looks good and knows it. It struts its stuff in the parade of life. Individuals who calibrate at the level of pride hold high standards for themselves. They are able to push back against negativity, and it's a sign that they are beginning to genuinely care about something. Pride generally has a good reputation and is socially encouraged, yet on the scale it remains below the critical level of 200. The problem, as we all know, is that pride cometh before the fall. Pride is defensive and vulnerable because it is dependent on external validation, without which it can easily revert to a lower level. The inflated ego is vulnerable to attack. Pride remains weak because it can be knocked off its pedestal right back down into shame. This is where true power appears. This is a critical level that distinguishes the positive and negative influences of life. It is the zone of exploration, accomplishment, and determination. At the lower levels, the world is hopeless, sad, frightening, and frustrating. But at the level of courage and above, life is seen to be exciting, challenging, and stimulating. People at this level put back into the world as much energy as they take from it. At lower levels, populations, as well as individuals, drain energy from each other and society at large without reciprocating. Because accomplishments result in positive feedback, reward and self-esteem become progressively self-reinforcing. This is where productivity begins. Not to be confused with apathy, energy becomes very positive as we learn how to transcend duality. Below 250, consciousness tends to be polarizing, and it takes on rigid positions, a hindrance in a world that is as complex and multifaceted as ours. Polarization creates opposition and division. But at the neutral level, a person can say, "It's fine if I don't get this job because I know I'll get another one." It is the beginning of inner confidence, sensing your own power. Therefore, you are not easily intimidated. You are not driven to prove anything. The expectation is that life, with its highs and lows, will be okay, as long as you can learn to roll with the punches. This very positive level of energy is the gateway to higher levels of consciousness. Willingness implies that you have overcome inner resistance to life and are committed to co-creation. At this level, self-esteem is innately high and is reinforced by positive feedback from peers and society in the forms of recognition, appreciation, and reward. Willingness is sympathetic and responsive to the needs of others. Willing people are builders and contributors to society. Willing people have the ability to bounce back from anything and learn from their negative experiences. At this level, you tend to become self-correcting. Having let go of pride, you are willing to look at your own defects and learn from others. At the level of willingness, you become an excellent student. You will be easily teachable and represent a considerable source of power for society. At this more evolved stage, love is not something that is given or taken away by another, but it is created from within. Acceptance is not to be confused with passivity, which is an emotion related to apathy. Acceptance allows engagement in life without trying to make it to conform to any personal agenda. With acceptance, there is emotional calm, and perception is widened as denial is transcended. We now see things without any distortion or misinterpretation. Long-term goals take priority over short-term rewards. Self-discipline and mastery is prominent. At the level of acceptance, we are not polarized by conflict or opposition. We see that other people have the same rights as we do, and we honor those rights. Lower levels are characterized by rigidity, but at this level, an understanding of nuance begins to emerge. Therefore, this level is free of discrimination and intolerance. Acceptance includes rather than rejects. Intelligence and rationality rise to the forefront as the emotions of the lower levels are transcended. This is the level of science, medicine, and atheism. Knowledge and education are sought as capital. Understanding is the main tools of accomplishment. At this level, however, it is easy to lose sight of the forest for the trees and to become infatuated with concepts and theories. I have found this to be the problem with many self-help books, courses, etc. One of the best pieces of advice a therapist has ever given to me has been to stop trying to intellectualize every emotion, I know, ironic, and focus instead on experiencing it by living in the moment. This can be done through meditation, losing yourself in your favourite activity or a good book, etc. Reason does not, in of itself, provide a guide to truth. Although reason is highly effective in this material world where logic dominates, reason itself, paradoxically, is the major block to reaching higher truths. Transcending this level is relatively uncommon in the world's population. Love, as depicted in the mass media, is not what this level is about. What the world generally refers to as love is an intense combination of physical attraction, possessiveness, control, addiction, eroticism, and novelty. It is usually fleeting, and when frustrated, this emotion often reveals itself for what it truly is, which is anger and codependency. Love turning into hate is a common concept, but what is being spoken about in this context is not love. It is an addictive sentimentality and attachment. Hate stems from pride, not love. Therefore, if you find yourself in this predicament, there probably wasn't any love there in the first place. True love is unconditional, unchanging, and permanent. It does not fluctuate because its source within the person who loves is not dependent on anything external. Loving is a state of being. It is a way of relating to the world that is forgiving, nurturing, and supportive. Love is not intellectual and does not proceed from the mind. Love emanates from the heart. It has the capacity to uplift others and accomplish great things because of its purity of motive. Love focuses on the goodness of life. It dissolves negativity by recontextualizing it, rather than by attacking it. This is the level of true happiness. But although the world is fascinated by the subject of love, and all viable religions calibrate at 500, which is a level of love, only 0.4% of the population ever truly reaches this level. Level 540 and up is the domain of the saints, spiritual healers, and advanced spiritual students. Characteristics of this energy field is the capacity for enormous patience and the persistence of a positive attitude, even in the face of the most prolonged adversity, also known as faith. The hallmark of this state is compassion. At the high 500s, the world you see around you is illuminated by beauty and perfection. Everything happens effortlessly by synchronicity, and the world and everything in it is seen to be an expression of love and divinity. Individual will merges into God's will. The energy field associated with this level is transcendence, self-realization, and God consciousness. That which is witnessing and the witness to take on the same identity. You become one with God. Everything is connected to everything else by a presence whose power is infinite, beautifully gentle, and yet rock solid. This is the level of the great ones of history, who originated the spiritual patterns that we have all followed throughout the ages. To have such vision is called grace, and the gift it brings is infinite peace. At this level of realization is the sense of your existence transcending all time and all individuality. There is no longer any identification with the physical body, and therefore its fate is of no concern. The body is seen merely as a tool, a filter of consciousness, and its only value is communication. The self merges completely with God. This is the level of non-duality and complete oneness. This is the highest level attained by any individual who has lived in recorded history. The great avatars for whom the title Lord is appropriate: Lord Buddha, Lord Krishna, and Lord Jesus Christ. We are all capable of enlightenment. Anybody can create their own heaven on earth. I suggest you meditate on what I have said, and I am sure you will find the answers within yourself. But if you need a little more guidance, I've added a free PDF summary of everything I've talked about in this video for you to refer back to, along with a short exercise that will help you register your emotional experiences, so that we can all stay in high vibration and access that heavenly state of being now. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think. I always love seeing your feedback in the comments section. Thank you for watching to the end. I appreciate you. I love you all, and I will see you in the next one.